And finally tonight, you don't often see a governor travel out of state to recruit cops, and certainly not a Florida governor going up to New York, Chicago, and outside of Philly. But that's exactly what we saw with Governor Ron DeSantis. Is that effective? Are cops in those cities dying to go enjoy the sunshine and maybe some protocols and some leadership that will actually support law enforcement? Let's bring our friend Rob O'Donnell into the conversation. He's a retired cop from New York City and also a champion for law enforcement all around the country, and the host of a brand new radio show on WILK in Scranton, Pennsylvania, the aptly named Rob O'Donnell Show. Rob, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Larry.
So you saw that it's an audacious move. Here comes DeSantis going up to New York, Chicago, saying, hey, we actually, we back our cops down in Florida. We actually enforce laws. We actually have DAs that prosecute criminals after you arrest them. It's great politics, but is it actually effective? Are there cops that are saying, yeah, I don't need this anymore in my life?
They are, and the nerve of Mayor Eric Adams to go after DeSantis and his surrogates on those statements is just outrageous, because the proven fact is NYPD officers are leaving at record numbers, and they're not gaining them. And a lot of these officers, a large percentage of them, are going down to Florida and starting new careers.
Well, and the good thing about that is we've seen a lot of citizens from the state of New York move down to Florida. So if the cops go down there too, that's good because there won't be a language barrier. They both speak New York.
Yeah, no doubt. But it's just a fact that we're not recruiting in New York City, and DeSantis isn't the first. Baltimore's come to New York, Philadelphia's come to New York to recruit officers.
Yeah.
It's just a known problem in these cities, these Democrat-run cities, where the law and order has just been thrown out to the wind with these, starting with the defund the police movement and these criminal justice reforms that they've seen hit a wall and crime skyrocket.
But Rob, I found that you mentioned Eric Adams, the mayor of New York's response. It was purely political. It was all about liberal policies in New York, but not actually addressing the core concern, which is the safety of the streets. Didn't Eric Adams run on law and order? Didn't he run on public safety? Didn't he run reminding everyone that he used to be a cop?
Yeah, listen, I worked with Eric Adams 30 years ago. He just does not have the skill set. He never involved himself in proactive policing. He doesn't even know what the concept means. He's just reading off the scripts that are handed to him to get elected to his next. This is a stepping stone to his next elected office, like anything else he's ever done in his career. His promotional exams, everything's been about Eric Adams, not the job he has in front of him.
That said, for the Americans still living in these major cities, they deserve to have safe streets. It's their civil right, frankly, to have laws enforced. As cops leave the force or move down to Florida, as Governor DeSantis would love them to do, where are the new cops coming from? The crime isn't getting any better, and you've got a huge recruitment problem.
Yeah, they're just not coming. They're barely filling classes. They're taking people that would normally be passed over. We saw what that means in Memphis down there when they lowered the standards and hired officers, and we see what happened there. This is what's going to continue to happen in these cities as they have to lower the standard, pass over recruits that would normally not get the badge and shield. And unfortunately, that's the crisis, the next crisis in policing.
And also, there's a problem. Liz, I used to live in New York, and I had some friends who were cops, and they would talk to me about how their dad was a cop and their grandpa was a cop, and we're talking multi generations. And that no longer, you don't hear about that at all, because you've got men who are cops right now who are dads. They're actively recommending their sons don't join the force. That's going to take a long time to turn back around, isn't it?
If it turns around at all, Larry. I mean, myself, I am very proud to be an NYPD detective for the years I did, the work we did, the work they still do there. It is God's work. And, my two children, I pushed them to go to active duty military service rather than follow a career in law enforcement because, a decade ago, we saw which direction law enforcement was going, and the attacks and the callous atmosphere that was being created as an excuse for politicians failing in their primary duties to keep people safe.
Well, listen, in our final few minutes here, I want to congratulate you on your brand new talk radio show. I think that's pretty exciting for you. It's quite a career shift for you. Is it harder to be a talk radio host than it was to be a homicide detective in New York?
Different. It's different being on the other side of it. Filling the time yourself. Talking to yourself. We all think to ourselves as we're driving. We're all commonly You think it's easier than it is, but then you're put on the spot in front of thousands of people on a microphone, and it's not easy. You would think it would be, but it's not. Plus all the prep and everything that goes along with it. I definitely have a newfound respect for what you do and what people in our business now do, and it's fun to say our business now, right?
Yeah, it's about time you had some respect for what I did, O'Donnell. But the people of Scranton and Wilkes-Barre are lucky to have you, and stay in your lane. That's it for tonight on O'Connor Tonight. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. In the meantime, we'll see you on the radio.